right, guys. Of course, this is Paul Wilson.
Chris Emke.
You're listening or watching the Diesel Performance Podcast. We are in my new car, or my used new car.
It's new to you.
It's new to me. Yes,
Yeah.
I like that. I always like that. So I picked up a 2012 BMW X5. Has just over 96,000 miles on the ticker. I got an okay deal on it. It was all right.
I'd say it was a good deal.
Yeah. So we were 15 plus tax title license. I don't mind saying quite a bit of shopping. I've looked for these things since UCC when the guys over
at... listening to him every day. Like, just buy a fucking truck.
Yeah, for sure.
Happen.
For sure, which I did get that advice as I was looking for this. Just buy a fucking truck. So yeah, some different ideas on this. Really, the guys over at Diesel Ops, JD and Brandon, kind of turned me on to the 35D. So this is a diesel version, of course.
I just want to point out, they would turn anyone onto this after seeing their cars at UCC.
Oh, so
I wanted
nasty.
one after that. They're hot.
So nasty. So the 335D came out, I want to say like 08, 09 up to 2012, 2011 right there. And then the 35Ds, same year they ran them, or I'm sorry, the X5, so the SUV version, they ran those up until 2013. The big thing here is it's a 6-cylinder, 3-liter compound turbocharged diesel engine with a Bosch common rail injection system and piezo injectors. So CP3, piezo injectors, compound turbos, diesel. It kind of clicks off a bunch of the check marks, doesn't it?
Diesel heaven is what I like to say. Yeah.
It's kind of stupid, and then to throw in all these creature comforts that I am not used to. We're laughing. Why don't you tell them why we're laughing, Chris? What was my last car?
You literally came from it was a Nissan Sentra. I don't even know the year. Was that like a 2000? 06. Wow.
06.
The thing had a flat black, like matte primered hood. The thing never wanted to start. You had to just turn the key just enough to get the car to turn over to start, and it was cranking for minutes on minutes.
Yeah.
So we would always make fun of him, and he never really cared. Like, he's one guy. He does not give a shit. He's not. You're not embarrassed.
No. It was a commuter car. I picked up my wife's car after we had a kid. I mean, it made sense for my family, right?
So then he upgrades. The thing's on 22s. I'm a fan of 22s. I'm sorry, judge me. I don't care.
Yeah. It is on black 22s. I would not have picked these rims, but I have gotten a lot of compliments on them.
I would have picked them. You know, when I had my TDI, that was on 20s. Like,
right.
The Ram is probably the only vehicle that I've owned up until this point that...
Still on stock rims?
Still on stock wheels.
Yeah.
Some of that's per Nick's request.
Right.
Yeah. Either here nor there.
Right. I would say I test drove a couple of these X5s with the diesel in them and with stock rims and tires. The ride is better. I mean, just going over like really shitty ground, you definitely can feel more of the road with these 22s on it. It's a little more bouncy.
Tire.
Yeah, low pro tire.
That was right before I sold the TDI, and I took the 20s off, and it was a Jetta with 20s, like, you know, very low profile tires if you don't remember.
Oh yeah.
Putting the stock 17s on and gaining that extra couple inches of tire, man, it rode like a Cadillac. Man, This thing, you just feel the compounds just spooling.
It does. I mean, for a stock...
This thing drives really, really nice.
Stock car with stock tune, I was impressed.
It lives up to the BMW stature, right?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the guys that are going to listen in and watch this are like, oh, it's not a truck, it's not a Duramax, it's not a 6-liter Ford, it's not a Cummins.
Right.
Guys, think outside the box a little bit. There are other diesel-powered platforms that are as equally badass. You might not be able to sled pull with them. You can still drag race with them. You can daily drive them and feel a lot of the creature comforts that you get from a daily driven diesel, you know?
I mean, honestly, when I was looking at it, I really wanted the 335D because it's small, it's light, it's a kind of a sports car. Yep. It's still a 4-door, so I can get a car seat in the back. So if you're watching the video version of today's podcast, you'll probably see my kid's car seat in the back seat here.
That's called adulting, guys. He's a dad. Adulting.
You have to kind of weigh things out. I don't tow anything. I don't haul anything. Anytime I need a truck, I know somebody who has one or two of them available.
At a time.
Right. So it's usually easy for me to find like a pickup bed if that's what I actually need. I needed something that I can make my 30-minute commute in comfort, get decent fuel mileage. and still have some fun at work with it, you know, and that was the general idea.
Oh, the best thing was as you were looking at these, you were going to Nick, like, Nick, you ever tuned one? Well, no, but we can. All right, cool, so I'm getting one,
Done.
You're going to tune it.
Right, done, yeah.
Like, I'm not giving you the option. Like, that's one of the perks of working here. Even the guys that have gas vehicles, he'll start tuning and tinker with. Like, it's a learning experience.
It is. We have not put this on the dyno yet. We expect it to make right around 240 horse to the wheels stock. With the big tune and some basic modifications. Guys got them at 370. The boys up at Diesel Ops have played around with some spray.
Oh.
They've gotten these engines on the 335s up to past the 500 horsepower mark.
Did they do anything with turbochargers and upgrading those?
Yeah, so they played around with doing a single turbo swap.
Oh, wow.
The tuning really wasn't there to make it a daily driver kind of option. They are starting to work with some different opportunities for some like drop-in replacement turbos.
I mean, 500 horsepower in a vehicle like this, or even 400 horsepower, is nothing to sneeze at. I mean,
5,400-pound curb weight,
Yeah, I mean,
just to give you a ballpark, you know.
Considering, you know, what a Duramax feels like at 500 horse, I mean, a built trans max effort Duramax, that's a 12-second truck.
Yeah.
At 7,000 pound curb weight.
Right. So you got, you know, it can be fun. Is it going to be the fastest diesel of your local drag strip? Probably not. Right? You're not going to go into an NHRDA event with one of these. But you definitely could go on vacation with the family.
Yeah. Or you could, you know, race in the bracket racing, do the index racing.
Oh, dude, for sure. I think this one would be a killer, to be honest.
Do really
you know,
well.
That stock throttle curve is really easy to control because it's not sensitive. We'll just put it there. It's not as soft as some of the other emissions equipped stuff that we've driven for sure, like the 2.8 Colorado. Felt like there was a spring under the pedal.
Yeah.
This is not that bad. I'll stand on it here. I don't know if you'll pick up the engine noise here, guys.
Fastest compounded diesel engine I've ever been in.
We very quickly are approaching, you know, speeding ticket range here of 70 miles an hour or so.
It's in kilometers, guys.
But it does. It's smooth, you know, and that's one thing that I will say about it. It is still emissions equipped. There's an EGR and a DPF on these. There are some alternatives out there in the aftermarket world for those components. But for all in all, just for jumping in a stock truck,
this thing drives really well.
It's got it.
I mean, think about it. What else are you going to buy? Let's cut the price out of the equation, okay?
Sure.
What are you going to buy mid-range diesel where people buy diesels because of the torque.
Yep.
They're more fuel efficient. Okay, that's pretty much the two biggest ones.
Yeah.
So you either buy a Touareg TDI from Volkswagen, a car, so a TDI, Chevy Cruze, something like that. Or, I know I said I wasn't going to bring up price, but now you start getting into that 2.8 Colorado Canyon, which is something you were talking about.
Sure.
Double the price.
Yeah, I definitely looked at them, but even a used one was the price of like a 2012, 2011 LML.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't need something brand new. That's not something that I require. I don't have to rely on a warranty because I'm probably not going to get approved for a warranty claim anyways.
Right.
So like realistically, buying brand new is not that appealing to me. And I think that's something that as we shop for vehicles, especially for diesels, you do have to open up your mind a little bit. Like here we are passing this beautiful 4th gen mega cab.
Mega black edition.
And she's bad. Like that was a badass truck that we just randomly passed out here in the cornfields. But the price tag on that truck just makes it not even an option to look at if this is in your price range. If you're looking around that 15K mark, what are you seriously looking at? Like you said, TDIs, a Touareg TDI at 15 grand. You're talking high mileage, older model.
Right.
It was really rough to find. Chevy Cruze, to be honest with you, man, I wouldn't buy a Chevy Cruze if you paid my payments.
If I was going to buy a car, I don't care. I'll argue with anyone to the death. I've owned enough of them. It's going to be a Jetta or a Passat TDI. If we're talking diesel power plant car.
Yeah.
You know,
the 335, I think would be an option,
right.
but yeah, you'd be right there on price range. And also 335s, I had a really hard time finding them local to me with the options I wanted and the package I wanted, like getting the M Sport in it or the M package in it, getting, all the little things that I wanted. It was just super hard to find, whereas in this one kind of fell in my lap, just to be honest.
Well, one day you're talking about a car, the next day you show up with an SUV. I was like, what is this? But it was a better move in my opinion.
Yeah, it was definitely more of a long-term thought out. I have always had a soft spot for the European cars. I've had a Saab in the past and things like that. So yeah, it was a last minute call, you know, kind of based like always with used car shopping.
You have a family
based on everything.
You have a family vehicle, go on a vacation, get decent fuel mileage, have 2 kids, because I'm sure you got another one on the way coming up, or the plan there is somewhere in the immediate future. Sorry.
If you ask my wife, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Good luck. But you know what I mean? Like, you get in this thing and drive. You know, it's comfortable.
That's it, yeah. Chris, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break here, and when we come back, you guys will see I'm keep driving this turd.
Oh, guys.
Hi, I'm Nick with DuramaxTuner.com. Right now I'm behind the wheel of our 2004 Duraburb, a truck with over 1,000 wheel horsepower. This is one of our most popular projects and includes a lot of cool new cutting edge parts, including Exergy's 14mm pump, our Stealth 64, 150% over injectors, and of course that BorgWarner S488 SXE. Man, listen to that thing. It is just nasty. Remember, we're not just a tuning shop. We're a specialty high-performance shop capable of starting your build and finishing it, taking whatever horsepower number you're looking for and putting together a drivable, succinct, reliable combination of parts. You can get in contact with us at 815-568-7920. Again, that's 815-568-7920. I'm Nick Pregnitz.
All right, guys, we're back. As Paul promised, I am now in the driver's seat of this unit, as I like to call it. You know, you made a comment about the pedal.
Yeah.
There is no dead spot. Like, this is very, for a stock, just coming from like the TDIs in the past and some of the trucks and whatnot, but it's responsive. It's right there. Like,
yeah, dead pedal's probably not the right description for this throttle feeling. It's soft.
This is
probably a better.
Yeah, because it I will say, like, you touch it, it starts to register, right? And then you have to get a little bit more aggressive in there to get it, you know, once you're in vehicle speed.
Yeah.
But you can tell, you can feel it's a DC, you feel the torque. You know, you feel
right
it just
away.
getting in it, yeah, it's there. That's compound turbochargers for you. This thing drives really, really nice. Man, for $15,000, I keep thinking about every truck I ever bought for around that price range. And
Yeah.
it needed another $10,000.
I remember a VP truck we bought at the company last year, 2 years ago, for more money than this.
And that was a 02.
Yeah, and I get it. The VP, I mean, there's a reason for that, right? Because if you need a truck and you love VP trucks, that was a really, really clean one. It was very rare.
Nice truck.
I get why it had the price tag it had. Like, I think the value was there for that buyer.
Well, I think, you know, depending on what a person wants and what their desire is, that puts a price tag on it, right? So the guy, I'm not in the VP market. I loved him when I had him.
Yeah.
But I see a value because parts are very inexpensive. They're extremely reliable. And they're very cost efficient to keep them on the street.
Right.
Versus a common rail injection truck where injectors are 8 times the cost.
Right.
Common rail pumps are more expensive. You know, those are mainly the two things. Everything else is the same. But when you get into the newer trucks, they're non-emission trucks. You could basically run anything you want through them fuel-wise, and it will run.
Right.
You know.
Well, I think there's just a certain amount of familiarity with it, where, like, I'm comfortable with a VP truck. I had a VP truck.
Yep.
I had a VP truck when I was young. You know, all these things where it's like, okay, well, it makes sense why you have a VP truck, right?
Oh, definitely. You know, and it's like, for myself, everything I've ever owned, it's always held a special spot in my heart. Like, that vehicle stuck out, and I regretted selling that because.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, the biggest thing on why I never wanted another one was, they never made a 4-door, and I'm also adulting, and I have a child, so.
Well, I was just going to say, is now, like, you think about, you had a VP truck when you were early 20s, late teens, somewhere in there, right?
19 to 23.
Yeah. So now you look at where you're at in your life now, and it's like, well, I do like cooled seats, which I'll just turn on here, right? Like, I do like backup cameras and panoramic roofs, and a $40,000 price tag on a newer truck or more. You know, if you want a new truck, right? 60, 70,000. Sometimes that's just not practical.
No, the amenities go a long way. I think that comes with age. You know, when I talk to a lot of guys on the phone, whether, you know, to delete a truck, keeping emissions on, 5-inch straight pipe, 4-inch straight pipe, you know. When I was 23, 24, that's when I started to have my turning point, you know, and it was, Before that, loud, stacks, whatever. Then
Right.
when I built my 07, it was, how many mufflers can I put on this thing?
I think we can go back and pull quotes of you saying like how cool it was to drive a big single turbo
Yeah.
that had a lot of lag, and then all the power hits and it screams at once. And
Yeah.
like, well, sure, yeah. When you were 17, you had nowhere to go, and all you were doing was driving around on the country roads, beating the shit
Yeah.
out of your truck. That was awesome.
It
But
was.
today, you don't want that going back and forth to work.
Not as you become more family oriented. You have a child. You hold this kind of stature of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And people see you and say, "Hey, this is what you do for a living." You want to be at the front end of that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you would have told me 10 years ago I would have what I drive now, I would laugh at you, be like, "That you're lame."
Right.
And I do.
Right.
And I'm sure same thing for you.
No, for sure.
Oh, you're gonna drive a diesel SUV? Like, no, you're not. And now you think it's cool. Back then, you did not think it was
Oh,
cool.
well, because they weren't. I mean,
They
a
weren't.
diesel SUV when we were young sucked.
Yep.
Like, number one. I mean, what are you talking about? A 6.5 Tahoe, right? I've had
Yeah.
a two-door 6.5 Tahoe.
Yeah.
I mean, they look awesome, but they're terrible
terrible.
vehicles. Like, you don't want to own one.
No.
All right, we're at a stop sign. Go ahead, Chris. Give it the beans.
Get it? You want me to do boosted launch?
No
too, just
boosted.
all that?
I've heard boosted launches aren't great in these.
They're great in everything.
Yeah,
What are you
I'm
talking
sure.
about? Especially when it's not mine.
I'm sure. Let's just do a roll on it while I passed up that warranty.
Oh, it just clicked 100K. Very torquey. The thing got up to 70 mile an hour in a hurry. I wasn't even fully floored, and I rolled onto it from about 15 mile an hour.
Yeah.
This is, in my opinion, in stock form. I've driven a lot of gas vehicles, a lot of trucks. As a commuter vehicle goes, this in stock form blows a 2.8.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Just the torque curve, the broad power band that it has. This thing, you can drive in traffic or on the highway, stomp on it, and get around the next person, and the power's there. It's consistent.
Yeah, and I have passed quite a few people already.
I'm sure
and
you
it
have.
Does,
I
it
can
does
tell by your
roll
average
on it.
MPG.
Yeah, so MPGs. All right, so one of the reasons you get this, MPGs are supposed to be great. It's a diesel.
Yeah.
You're in a 5,400 pound car, so like nowadays your average 6-cylinder SUV, which I'll vouch, our Jeep. I do have a Jeep Cherokee.
Yep.
6-cylinder, all-wheel drive. And that gets, at best, like on the highway, the best I've gotten with it is probably hand calculated around 18 miles to the gallon.
Well, my wife, she has one. We
Yep.
have a 16, and that thing hand calculated. The best we ever got on a 3-mile trip doing 70 miles an hour was like 21.
There you go.
Right there. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not
18 to 21,
they're not the
right?
most
High
fuel
teens,
efficient.
low 20s. So
I
yeah,
guess for a gas
they're
SUV,
not
that's
great.
not bad.
No, exactly. And that's why I say is I've already been stomping on the throttle the way we have
Yep.
today is the way I drive. I'm in and out of traffic every day. Most of my commute is through traffic. I never break 60 miles an hour. So to get 17.9, 18 miles to the gallon is where I'm at right now. On the highway coming home, hand calculated from the dealership was about an hour and a half away. All highway coming back, 27 miles to the gallon on it. So like phenomenal when I'm on the highway and I'm not driving like an asshole. As rare as that is.
What are you, and this is one of the things that I talk about, driving like a full-size truck. And the truck gets good mileage. I'm very ecstatic with what I've been able to achieve in that thing.
Yeah.
But if I were to have downsized and went to a gas car, or unless I'm buying a TDI car,
Right.
you're gonna be looking at the high teens, low 20s as a fuel consumption.
That's it, yep.
I've been spoiled for how many years driving TDIs as commuters, Go
40
from-
miles to the gallon.
Dude, I went from spending like $15 to $17 a week, and I drive 60 miles a day,
Yeah.
to $60, $70 a week. But it's the creature comforts that, outweigh that cost.
It is, yeah. And that's
this
a lot of
thing-
what this comes down to.
I mean, you know what? Guys that are listening, the younger crowd probably isn't going to understand this. It comes with a little bit of age and a little bit of experience, but as you get a little older, you understand the value of being comfortable when you're driving something.
I mean, I do think that there is a certain amount of cool factor to the X5, and maybe that's just my own personal taste of like, I've always liked SUVs, I've always liked Tahoes, I've
take
always
a right
liked
or a left?
Blazers. You can go straight.
Okay.
We'll hook down on the next one.
Cool.
But I've always liked SUVs. I do think there are some cool looking SUVs
There
out
are.
there. It's not a minivan, which
No.
is like the ultimate of lame vehicles ever, right? I'd rather have an Aveo than a Caravan.
Right.
That's just how rough I see minivans,
Again,
right?
there's a practicality to you do not need a truck.
Yeah.
Like, you personally don't need
No,
a truck.
exactly.
But you have a passion for diesel. So you were able to spin two things off to something that benefits you and is productive in what you do, and you can take what you do for a living and spin it off into your vehicle, just as a lot of our customers and users, friends, dealers, they all do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're a listener and you're thinking about this and you're kind of looking around at new cars, you're thinking, hey, maybe my wife needs a car, they're out there. They're available. You know, jump on cars.com, Carfax. It was ironically where I found this one. It did take a bit of searching, and there are some aftermarket upgrades available for them. So one of the things I wanted to kind of get into today was some of my plans for this vehicle in the future. As we mentioned, it's got these black 22 whatever on rubber bands, 22-inch rims on rubber bands. It's not exactly my style. I do think it looks cool. I would not have bought these if I was the one shopping for them. Like, I would not have spent my money on them. But I get it. It looks good this way.
Liar.
So this coming fall, we're here in Northern Illinois. We know the roads are going to be dog shit. It is all-wheel drive. I'm sure I can make it on these tires, but I don't want to. I don't want to put my kid in the car and all the other bullshit that goes along with it and scuff up the rims in the winter and the salt and all that shit.
Trans shift's so nice, by the way.
Doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's so smooth.
Really well.
It's so smooth. And I've read nothing but great reports. These transes hold easily up to 600 horsepower, 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, no problem. So
right out of the gate.
Pretty solid. Yeah. So anyway, tires, rims, those will come off for the winter at the least. They may just go forever. We'll see what deals I work. Probably throw a set of stockers back on it, and that's really all I plan on doing to the exterior. It's got a couple of nicks and scratches on the back bumper, so that'll go into the paint shop for a little touch-up. Other than that, I really want to tune it emissions equipped, so I've been working with the guys at Calibrated Power who are on the R&D team, so nobody who's been in videos before, but the Joshes, as we call them.
Josh Squared.
Josh Squared, they've agreed to help me out with some of the tuning. We'll be using not EFI Live for this. It's a hardware-software package called Alien Tech. They're out of Italy. We've used them on TDIs for a while, a few other platforms. They support some of the odd stuff that's out there. Comes down to a whole question about being able to read the file. So right now, what's industry current is pull the ECU and send it into a tuner. The tuner opens up the ECU, actually solders in, or actually K-tag they call it, so it actually connects physically to the circuit board inside of the ECU. I've talked to Nick about this over at Calibrated Power. He is not interested in scaling up a core ECU tuning program again. That's something that we did
years ago.
Probably killed about 5 years ago at Duramax Tuner. He'll never go down that route again. I have heard some rumors about being able to read and flash through the OBD2 port with a KES V2. We will see. That's the best I can say right now.
The nice thing working at a tuning shop is we have that.
Right. We have the tools, and I know the nerds who could work on that and work those details out. And
you mean nerds in the most respectful way possible?
In the most jealous way of what they do compared to what I do possible. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I wish I could be half that smart.
No.
So we're going to work on some emissions equipped tuning. I'll be honest, I don't know why nobody has done emissions equipped performance on these. There are some carb approved foolers, just pressure boxes and things like that. There's no emissions equipped custom tuning. Now, this could be because of a lack of interest in the market. A lot of people haven't asked for it. It could be because of some of the standard kind of feelings and standard assumptions about emissions equipment out there in the marketplace. Or it could be that the emissions equipment is so small on this small engine that it's just not going to handle the type of abuse tuning is going to throw at it. So we'll see. I think there's definitely something to learn there, whether we can do it with or without the DPF and the EGR.
I'm curious, thinking back a couple years ago when we had my 12 and we did the tuning, and not to call out any other tuning shops, but they had their horsepower tunes out, and we had my car emissions equipped making the same power, and the car had 200,000 on a stock DPF and EGR, and the car ran flawlessly.
Yeah.
I would still have that car if VW, thank you VW, didn't pay me for it.
Didn't offer you a higher buyback price than what the retail market was for it?
I mean, they doubled my money from what I bought it for.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, that one was a score. But yeah, so that's kind of my ideas. We're going to start off with just some real basic emissions equipped tuning through a CTS monitor. CTS2 monitor does plug into them, so I'll be putting that in probably tonight when we get back to the shop. So we'll post podcast, little work there. And then from there, it's a wait and see game. So if the emissions equipment will last through the winter, that would be great. And then next summer is when I would start tearing into the turbos. So again, without knowing too much about the specifics on the turbo setup, I'll probably go after the atmospheric charger first, just because that's how compound turbochargers work. You usually can force more air through that primary charger by just putting a larger atmospheric charger on, or low pressure charger. So that'll be the first step. We'll push that twin kit as far as we can, and then I'll again kind of wait and see of how much my wife wants to kill me after investing that money into the family car.
Might be cheaper to do a divorce. Joking, actually.
I think the rule is cheaper to keep her, but
No, that's fact, yeah. God. All right. On to better topics.
topics.
So one of the other things that we're working on, guys, me and Paul, we're going to use this vlog podcast to talk about. Paul thinks that it'd be a great idea, such as I think it's a great idea as well. We're going to start doing a vlog series where you'll be looking at my beautiful face, and we're going to start doing truck reviews.
That's it.
And it's not just one truck here, one truck there. It's going to be stock truck, modified truck, comparing a stock truck to a tuned truck, just talking about all the different characteristics that you guys experience. So we're going to get more interactive with this, and you guys posting, commenting, things like that. It is nice that I have a plethora of vehicles at the shop that I have at my disposal that we can use, and then kind of spin off of that. So on top of what my 9 to 5 is, and then what my Friday 4 to 5 is, we're going to throw that into the mix. So be on the lookout for that.
I think a ride-along vlog series is going to be good,
It's going to be huge.
I think our listeners will really be into it. You guys will be able to find that over at the Duramax Tuner and Calibrated Power YouTube channels. We'll probably also push it out onto a Facebook page as well. We'll kind of see where that goes, but I'm excited for that one, Chris. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
I take so much time in the day talking about drivability and characteristics. It's one thing to talk about it, but it's one thing to kind of display and show it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm most excited about with this. And then getting into like higher horsepower application, big turbocharger trucks, like the RPM, the truck going nowhere when I'm floored, you can clearly see that in a video, you know? So instead of me having to explain myself all the time, and I feel like an idiot because I might not be explaining it the best in that situation, now we have something to display and show.
Right.
You know, big twin trucks, whatever the case may be.
This is definitely not just a ploy for a bunch of people to let Chris drive their trucks recklessly on the road. No. Yes, it is.
Yes. Thanks, Nick.
No, so you're going to be kicking that one off. I think we'll call this the teaser. Your first official ride-along is going to be in
the Ram. We'll do the Ram.
2015 Ram box.
2015 Ram box. The missions equipped, twin turbo. We have a sister truck, which is a 16 crew short, missions equipped, that will be like stock trans tuning. I have lines on a 14 that is missions deleted with tuning, so we can talk about some of the characteristics there.
Oh, a lot of Cummins in there, bro.
Well, hold on. The best displaced motor is a 6.7. I have Fords on the line.
Okay.
So a buddy of mine just picked up a 2018 King Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be getting that truck next week.
Are you talking about the red one with the rubber floors?
That's a Platinum. This is a King Ranch. This thing actually has the panoramic roof, so he actually stepped up.
Not a cheap ass.
Yes. So I'm actually going to do a drive along on that. That is a bone stock truck as of right now.
Oh, I love it.
So we're going to take that truck, drive it, run it, film it, and then we're going to tune it, and I'm going to drive it, film it, run it. And we're just going to go through this. Like, we're going to do a lot of videos. We'll have a lot to schedule out.
Yeah.
You know? So you're going to be busy.
Scheduling, yeah.
I mean,
no, so my plan for your vlog, Chris, is to minimum once a month. We're really going to try to press that up to every other week.
Yep.
They do take some time to produce on, like,
it's just all about getting into the swing of things. You know, you got to get into the swing of it.
It's a lot like the podcast, where we need to also make sure we have a sustainable amount of content to be able to provide you guys, so you guys aren't waiting, 3 months at a time for a new video or anything like that. We want to make sure that we can keep it out on a regular basis. Right now, for the rest of 2018, I think it'd be pretty easy to book you into trucks and, a production schedule. For our listeners, if there's stuff you guys want to see Chris drive, and there's stuff that you guys want to see Chris do a review on, even if it's something very specific about a truck or a specific setup, let us know, man. Shoot us a message over at Diesel Performance Podcast, whether you do that on Facebook or you call us. Of course, phone number at the shop's 815 815-568-7920. You can reach Chris at extension
2121.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you. Yeah, okay.
For
So
now.
Chris is 2121.
For now.
I'm 2122. You can leave me a voicemail. I rarely answer my phone, but I do always return my calls.
What a dick.
So please feel free to leave me a message. I'm up running around. It's not that I ever see the phone ring and I choose not to answer it. That's crazy talk.
No, for sure.
Oh.
He's running around doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, stuff.
I still question what he does.
Right, and so does everyone. Yeah, no, but
it's
we do.
exciting.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We definitely hope all of our podcast listeners will jump on the YouTube channel and give it a shot, give it a watch, see how you like it, give Chris some feedback. Take it easy on him. He's a little sensitive.
Constructive criticism. Don't appreciate it, but send it. I might motherfuck you guys, but
Yeah.
it'll be out of love.
You know, things. I still remember we got 1 3-star review on the podcast back when Danny was on the show.
Yeah.
And this guy put a 3-star review and said that I said absolutely too much. And I think I spent about 3 weeks
Yeah.
just
You were
venting.
heated. You were
yeah,
heated,
venting about his comment of my critique of my use of the word absolutely. But
Absolutely.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
Yeah. Hey guys, for today, I think that just about wraps up everything that I wanted to talk about. We're going to be back in the studio starting next week. We got some great interviews coming up. I think we got a line on a guy from AMSOIL, so we're finally going to be talking about oil and oil maintenance, along with some
stuff.
other cool technical content there.
A lot of questions guys ask, and I just like, hey, I run Rotella.
So we'll be rolling into that really soon. For today, this has been Paul Wilson.
And Chris Emke.
Thanks for listening or watching.
The Diesel Performance Podcast is brought to you by Calibrated Power Solutions, home of DuramaxTuner.com. Calibrated Power develops emissions-equipped calibrations for a wide variety of diesel powertrains, including Duramax, Cummins, Power Stroke, John Deere, Case, New Holland, and many more. For more information and the best customer service in the industry, check out calibratedpower.com or call 815-568-7920. That's 815-568-7920. If you'd like to contact the podcast, send us a message through Facebook or email Paul at DuramaxTuner.com or Chris at CEHMKE@DuramaxTuner.com. Hey, thanks for listening. Your feedback is appreciated. Please rate and review us on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and by all means, let us know if you have any ideas for a podcast. We'd love to hear from you.
The best thing was as you were looking at these, you were going to Nick, like, Nick, you ever tuned one? Well, no, but we can. All right, cool, because I'm getting one. You're going to tune it.
Right, done, yeah.